anything, he looks up and he sees her ex sitting out in the audience as they about to get married, and he says, you know what, listen, no, I'm not, nope, 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 I'm not going, you can miss me with that. And he called the wedding off. Was he wrong for that? So it's a few ways to look at it. First of all, he's not wrong. Okay, here's why. Because if she would have had a conversation with this man beforehand to let him know that she intended on inviting her ex, then she would be married. Because he would have told you flat, he would have told her flat out in her face, no, you cannot invite this dude over here. We will not be playing those type of games. No, you cannot invite your ex to the wedding. Furthermore, what person in their right mind would want to invite their ex to their wedding unless they have become like really good friends? And still, even that, I don't see how people would be comfortable with that. Like, an ex is an ex is an ex, and I don't think that in good taste, in good conscience, that should even be taking place. Like, no. So was he wrong for calling it off? I don't believe he was wrong. I would have acted the same way. And to be honest, I think he's a little better than me, because maybe I would have told that whole reception up. I would have been throwing cake and flowers and garter belts and all this other stuff. I would have been throwing everything up in there. Let me look up and find out he has his ex out there, because it's just like we would like to say, oh well, no, he did too much. He could at least talk to her. But think about it. If the shoe was on the other foot, and if he invited his ex, if he invited Big Booty Judy to the wedding, your mama and the whole bridesmaids party would have been jumped. Big Booty Judy, listen, you wouldn't have had to call it off, because it would have been so much commotion from you jumping over. You'd have jumped over the broom, over the pastor, over the ring girl, over the flower girl, just to get over there to Big Booty Judy. So was he wrong for calling the wedding off? No, we just have to move better. Now listen, you all. Speaking of moving better and wives and husbands, listen, every now and then you all know that I have to teeter in a little celebrity news, a little celebrity gossip. Now, you all, let me say this. I love me some Tyrese. Okay, I'm gonna start off by saying that. I love me some Tyrese. God doggone it, God darn it, I love me some Tyrese. But you know what? Tyrese stresses me out, you all. Every time Tyrese is in the news, or every time, Tyrese just makes my blood pressure rise. And here's the latest of Tyrese making my blood pressure rise. Now, what do you all think about this? Tyrese is saying, he says, I need, and his words, I need. He says he needs a wife. He needs a wife. He needs a woman that is going to cover him when he's broken. He said, I don't just need a wife. I need a woman who can cover me when I'm broken. Tyrese, Tyrese doesn't listen. If I could, Tyrese, let me just talk to you heart to heart. If I could get Tyrese to listen to anything that I say. Tyrese, with all due love and respect, I just from what you show us, because I don't know him personally, but just from what you display, I don't know if you need a wife. You need, a little bit more therapy and a little bit more counseling, with all due respect. Because Tyrese is a character. I never know when he is serious and when he is just putting on a show. But I will tell you one thing. Tyrese cannot cry. I need Tyrese to stop crying. Tyrese cannot cry at all anymore. Now, let me make this disclaimer. I'm not saying that men cannot cry. I'm saying Tyrese cannot cry. I am sick of Tyrese crying because Tyrese, for me, to me, it seems as though, and this is just me, just looking at, some of the stuff that, Tyrese is involved with. Tyrese creates, these situations, and he puts himself in these delicate situations, and then he want to cry. Then you want to get on live and cry, and then think we're supposed to have. Look, I don't have any sympathy for that. I'm tired. Like, Tyrese, stop crying. Any other man, you can cry. Feel free to cry. Any other man besides Tyrese. Tyrese, his crying privileges have been revoked, okay? Because he's like the dude that cries wolf. Every time you turn around, Tyrese crying, but then he cutting up, talking crazy somewhere. I decided he talking crazy. Tyrese, with all due respect, you don't need a wife. He needs a really good therapist, and he needs some good friends that's gonna pull him to the side and be like, yo, dog, look, you tripping again. Like, seriously, dog, you need to chill out. He needs some friends that's gonna tell him that, because sometimes, listen, people get all this money and then you can't tell them nothing. Can't nobody tell them nothing because they Tyrese and you got all this money and please, I can replace you. I can buy you. I can do this. I can do. That's why you crazy. See, that right there, because people are scared to tell you something because don't nobody want to ruffle your feathers. You know why? Don't nobody want to ruffle your feathers, and they walking on eggshells because you're crazy. See, when people walk on eggshells and they scared to say something, that is you. They're scared because they know you are a loose cannon. So right now, I'm going to say this, probably a good year or two, first he needs to start off, this is what I would say. He should start off with probably a 60 to 90 day inpatient stay somewhere where they could just take real good care of him, maybe give him, 24-hour care, talk to him, help him sort out what his problem is, because it's evidence and it's apparent that it's some stuff going on. Like, it all don't just, it don't really connect. Everything don't really connect as it should when we talking about Tyrese. So honestly and sincerely, I think that he needs to talk to, somebody that's professional, somebody that you're not going to threaten their credentials. And, he should talk to Dr. Umar Johnson. That's who he should talk to. Please, Tyrese, let Dr. Umar Johnson be your life coach. Can't nobody say nothing bad about Dr. Umar Johnson. Can't nobody say nothing bad to me about Dr. Umar Johnson. You better say something bad about your grandmama wig or somebody else, but you can't say nothing bad about Dr. Umar Johnson. Tyrese, get with Dr. Umar Johnson. He will help you get yourself together. He gonna tell you like it is, because you need to talk to a strong Black man that's gonna help you to unravel all of this stuff that's going on here and all of the stuff that's going on here, because he's dealing with a lot, and I don't take it lightly, and I'm not making fun of what he's going through emotionally, but I laughed when I saw he said that he need a wife. Brother, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't need to damage not another woman. No, you do not, honey. You do not need a wife. You need the Lord, therapy, and a prescription. You do not need a wife. Right now, you do not need a woman. Right now, you need to just chill and just work on this and work on this. And then once all of that starts to come together, then once you're whole and healed, then, start looking for a partner. But just, again, this is just from the stuff that is being displayed on social media, because, again, I don't know Tyrese personally. I just know what he's showing us. Just like you don't know me personally. You may say, oh, she talked too much, or she may have been. Well, I do talk too much. I have a tendency to talk too much, but that's what I'm displaying on these here tubes. So that's all you have to go on. So all we have to go on is a trail of damaged women that he's left behind, and, a whole bunch of tears. So Tyrese, with all due respect, and I love him as an artist, I love him as an actor. He's very talented. But do I think that he needs to be looking for a wife? Not right now. You better find you some an inpatient facility, some doggone well. But a wife is not where you need to be looking right now. So that's just my non-professional, unwarranted, unsolicited opinion. That's just what I feel about the situation. But you know what? I'm saying it to you in love, though. For real, Tyrese, I'm saying it in love. Like, I think that you need to, somebody need to help you. You need to talk to somebody, and it ain't about getting no wife. Don't go over there going to now one of these janky bootleg pastors, which will bring us to our next hot topic. Janky bootleg pastors. Now listen, you all, I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. And I'm going to say it because I'm from the church, and I'm going to say it because people are afraid to say what I'm going to say because they think that they're offending the Lord. But I'm so sick of these bootleg pastors. I am sick of these bootleg pastors. And the latest bootleg pastor that goes under the title pastor, Marvin Winans. Listen, with this month, Lord, if you don't help, Lord, help your people, because this, I'm going to tell you, if you've been brought up in church and you've been brought up in real church, you'll know that this foolishness that they're doing, this is not church. That is not God. That's these people out here playing with God and playing and acting. They have God-like complexes. This is not God. Jay, how you going to say that? What are you talking about? Pastor Marvin Winans, and I'm going to use that title lightly, very lightly, because I respect the title, I respect the position, and I respect pastors, I respect the cloth, I respect the faith. But you have to be able to call out a sheep, and you have to be able to call out a fraud and a phony when you see one, so that people don't get discouraged. Because when people see stuff like this, the first thing they'll say is, see, that's why I don't go to church. We just had some foolishness like this at the beginning of the year with who was it? Marvin Sapp. The same foolishness with this money. What is it with these people that's asking for these ridiculous amounts of money from people in the church? You're asking $2,000. God told me to get you $2,000. Sir, go in your bank and you listen. Give every member $2,000. Why y'all got your hands out for these people? They ask for the most ridiculous, absurd amount of money from these people, and you know they don't have it. And then you lie to them and get their hopes up high, making them think that the Lord is going to bless them if they give you their last. That's not the Lord. You're not doing the Lord's work. That is not the Lord. The Lord know what you can do. You're supposed to pay your 10% tithes and offering. You're supposed to do that. The Lord, why do the Lord only tell the so-called pastors? Why is the Lord only telling you that you're supposed to give $2,000 or whatever absurd amount that they're asking for? Why? Listen, the Lord worked like this. If you got it, your $1,000 could be only $10 because that's all you can do. And you sacrifice to give that. It's not how much you give. It's the sacrifice that counts. So please, you all, stop falling for this stuff. And it was just so sad because they brought the lady up that Marvin Sapp, I'm sorry, not Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp was a few months ago. Pastor Marvin Winans. See, listen to these Marvins. Pastor Marvin Winans, he checked because she said he didn't. They said skull. I'm going to say check because that's exactly what it looked like to me. So I'm going to say, according to my perception and where I perceived it, he checked this woman in the church. She brought a $1,200 check. And he told her, he's like, this ain't what I asked for. And she was like, Pastor, I know that, Pastor, just as humble as she want to be. He was like, you didn't follow what I told you to do. I said 2,000. She was like, well, trying to say it, humbly, I'm a little, I'm a little light. I'm going to work on the other 800. So he goes into this tangent about, see, y'all not listening. Y'all not listening to what I said. And going into all of this, I would have said, you know what? Well, all due respect, Pastor, you know what? You right. You didn't ask for $1,200. I would have took my $1,200 check, took my grandbaby, and we would have rolled right on up out of there. But she didn't. She walked away humbly, and that's why she gonna be blessed. But ma'am, Miss Roberta, or whatever your name is, please get from up under that type of teaching, because that's not God. I mean, these people, they have people so captivated because they got all these riches and all of this other stuff, but you're not even helping the people of God. They're using you all. They're using you. They're lying to you. They're taking the money. I'm looking at, listen, all these building funds, all of this. If I see another building fund, listen, I know pastors, they paid off churches on the back of the mothers boards and this and that. And I always thought like this. I said, okay, if you can get these people to raise all of these tens of thousands of dollars every Sunday, every Sunday, thousands and thousands of dollars are coming through the church doors. Why is your congregation still poor, broke, and starving? Why do you have to give out Easter baskets and Thanksgiving baskets? If your house is blessed, then why are your people not blessed? Why are you not sowing that money back into the church? Like, people, like, listen, I've seen with my own eyes mothers give their last money for things, but then be so sad because they couldn't afford their medication because it was the Mother's Sunday and they had to give $100 and they didn't want to look bad, so they gave their last $100 and they can't go and buy their medicine. And I'm just like, ma'am, you do know that that's not the Lord. You do know that the Lord know that you ain't got it. That's the thing that people got to understand. God knows exactly where you are. It's the man that is putting that pressure on you. You're supposed to do your 10%. And guess what? If you don't have it this week, God will forgive you. And guess what? You can make it up when you get it the next time, because God knows your heart. Whereas these false shepherds and these wolves in sheep clothing, how they're leading people on, I just think that it's unfair. But what I will say is, do not let that keep you from going to church. Hey, Sparkle, you're saying, remember Creflo? These crooked, yes, I remember Left-Low Creflo. Yeah, Left-Low Creflo. All of these people, these big churches like that, it's just like, I don't even know, like, I don't really feel comfortable even calling them churches, because then it's like, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to real churches, to real pastors. So what I'm saying is not an attack on real pastors and real churches. This is an attack and a call out to these businessmen that are pimping from the pulpit. This is what this is about. This is the businessmen and the businesswomen that are pimping from the pulpit. You pimping these poor people out their money. And, listen, I'm going to tell you, these services, a lot of these services in these big churches are orchestrated. This stuff is orchestrated so doggone bad that it just makes me so sick when I see it, because it's just like, when you when you come from a real church, you know the difference between the real service versus an orchestrated service. An orchestrated service is everything that's done for show. An orchestrated service, listen, God and God and the Lord told me. Listen, look. Okay, look. Now, unless the Spirit of God is in there, you listen. God ain't stop trying to do that to lean on people emotions. It be so much. Choose wisely who you follow. It's your responsibility. You have to pray that the Lord reveals the spirit of discernment to you on who you should be sitting up under. And that's all I'm going to say about this. I'm going to get up off of it because I don't want people to be getting offended to think at no shape, form, or fashion am I bashing a real church. Listen, I'm gonna take it back to Bone Thugs and Harmony. We not against rap. I'm not against pastors, but I am against them thugs. Them thugs in the pulpit pimping these people. I'm definitely against them because they are giving real churches and real pastors a bad name. Now, with that being said, do not let the foolishness that Pastor Marvin Winans was doing, don't let that be the reason where you be one of those. See, that's why I don't go to church. That's why I don't go to church. Listen, we're going to stop. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay? I'm going to stop you right there. Now, here's why I'm going to stop you. That man you with done cheated on you 5 times and you done forgave him. Okay? The man before that cheated on you, but you didn't give up on men. You went and you found you another one. Okay? Hopefully this man do right by you. Okay? So if you didn't give up on men, don't give up on God. This chick, she done creeped off with your best friend. You dumped her and you got you another one. If you didn't give up on these chicks, do not give up on God. Just because you done came across a bad one or two, it does not justify you saying, oh, well, see, now I'm justified in not going to church. No, you're not. No, you're not. You just justified in not going back to that church where you found out there was some foolery going on. You justified for not going back there, but you're not justified for not going back to church. So get yourself together and let these people listen. If you see this type of foolishness and you know they not right, let it go and find somewhere else. Find somewhere else. A lot of these churches, these good time churches, see, when you know, I'm going to tell you how you know you're in the right church. Because you're going to actually learn something. You're going to learn how to live right. You're going to learn how to do things the right way. Now, I'm going to say this. You may listen, coming from, when you're in a real church, I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, if you're in a church that teaches, you're not going to always walk out the church feeling happy. You know why? Because 9 times out of 10, the pastor going to say something that the shoe is going to fit you. It's going to fit you. The pastor will be saying something like, the Lord is calling you out of whoredom. And you up in there with the same clothes on that you done had on last night at the club. They ain't specifically said your name, but they gonna be preaching a sermon that's going to make you get a little uncomfortable in your chair. You're gonna be antsy, and the Lord has called you out of wearing them hooker clothes. The Lord has called you. See, they'll be saying something a little bit like that. They're not gonna point to you directly. They're not gonna say, but the word is going to start messing with you because you're guilty of what they're saying. That's called teaching, you all. Listen, Jaye, how do you know? Listen, I can tell you, I've been in the pastor's office a time of 2 I never got mad, and I always, because I know when I'm wrong. I done been called to the pastor's office too many times. Why? Jaye, tell us a few reasons why you done been called to the pastor's office. Well, okay, so one time I had got called to the pastor's office because I had on a hooker red wig. Yeah, baby. I wore that whole wig up to church, baby. And yes, I was called Sister Vance. I'm like, and all I could do was sit up there and think, what I'm trying to figure out, what the heck am I getting called to the office for? I had to go. I had to go back down. I had to go to the thinky thinking. I had to say, okay, I ain't said nothing. I ain't said nothing because I'm tell y'all. Listen, I was known for saying the. I'm just gonna. I don't feel like it was the wrong thing, but the pastor told me that I probably shouldn't be talking to the brothers like that. But it was somebody else's husband, so I was just kindly sending the deacon back over there to his wife. Okay, but I didn't say it nicely, but I redirected the deacon's traffic a time or two, and the word, I didn't cuss, but I could have probably said it in another way, but I felt like I was keeping a home together because what are you over here sniffing around somebody that's not your wife? So that's all I was saying is, listen, look, you sniffing in the wrong area. I don't play that, sir. Okay, I don't play all of that. So take that over there to where they need your little take that over there to them. I'm not her. So I've said that a time or two, and they people get caught up in these titles. So sister, can you come to the office, pastor's office?